Happy morning, Academy. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening us. And I really do appreciate you guys. You take the time out to feed your mind, to give yourself that time, to invest that time in yourself. Most times we are out here spending time and nothing is being invested. And it is an investment that reap a good or a favorable return. Spending oftentimes doesn't give us the return we want, and this is a place where we talk about happiness, success, full potential, getting to live our best life, get to create the life we want using our gifts, our God-given talent, to come up with a way in which we want to live our lives, and that is punctuated by freedom. It doesn't matter what you get to achieve. It doesn't matter what you get to do. Freedom is inextricably linked to happiness, and we are often out here trying to fit our life into a circumstances that we have been given or that we have been made to believe is a good circumstances, instead of trying to mold the world to fit our desires and our deepest, truest belief. We all have a certain belief system, and one of the things that I've been talking about a lot is it is one thing to find yourself, but it is another thing that is that is not much talked about, and that is the idea of accepting yourself. Because we all, most of us, or a lot of us, go out there and we have found ourselves. We know in our hearts of hearts, when that time comes, when we are to talk about a game, not as a fan, but when we are to probably coach a team, or we are to arrange our house, or we are to help a friend, give a friend advice, or we are to participate or fill a role in a department at work or at church, we are at our best. We are in our element, and somewhere in us we know that that's what we are supposed to do. But we have not accepted ourselves, and we have not accepted that we can bring ourselves there. And that brings me to the point of that there is this common notion and phrase and talk of the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. But one thing I've never heard anyone said, and I want to talk about it a little bit this morning, and that is the successful becomes more successful, and the failure become bigger failures, or fail more. And maybe we should shift our focus to that, because the rich get richer becomes a pointing of the finger. But the successful becoming more successful is synonymous with the lens, the mirror, looking at yourself. And what we see, or what we come to realize daily, is that success is hard, but those who are successful become more successful. And success is hard not because of the common things that people like to blame, point the finger at. The government, your background, the country you're from, your parents, the school you went to, the interest rates, and your job, your boss, your wife, your family, your kids, the economic conditions, your competitors. All that stuff is usually just the symptoms, or that is just the scapegoat people use to cop out of their abilities to do what needs to be done. So we know that success is difficult, but it's not complicated. It is hard because success can be connected in many cases to rich. So it is hard mainly because it is hard for us to form the disciplines and to hold on or to take on a belief system that only few people are willing to take on. So it is a man who is willing to go a little further, not a little further doing something complicated, but a little further doing something that is difficult. I often use this analogy that if someone walk up to you and say, hey, walk 100 miles in 14 days. If you figure out how to walk 100 miles in 14 days, you get $50 million. Or the same person walk up to you and say, hey, here's an aircraft. If you figure out how to take this aircraft and land it in the London Heathrow, you get $50 million. One is hard, one is complicated. It is complicated to figure out how to fly an aircraft. It is not complicated to walk 100 miles. It is hard to walk 100 miles, but it's not complicated. That's what success is. It's not complicated. It is not complicated. It is hard, but it is not complicated. If you want to lose weight, it's not complicated. If you want to be a successful parent, it's not complicated. If you want to be a successful business person, it's not complicated. Because success leave clues, and most times what you need to do, you already have the foundational skills. You just need to build on them. So if you need to go do a course to learn how to market your business, you already have the skills of being literate and numerate and talking and turning a page in a book, and you have the resources, social media, you know where to find the people who do advertising. You have all those basic skills already. If you're to go fly an airplane, you go in there, most of those skills you don't have. You know what the meters stand for, all you see are the numbers. There's no manual in there. There's no screen running to tell you to read and adjust this and move that and directing you. There's nothing like that to put a plane in the sky and take it to London Heathrow. But if I say walk 100 miles, you'll be like, okay, what is the average number of miles somebody can walk per day normally? What is the weather? We can find that out. We can walk already. We can start walking. We know where to shelter. We know when it's raining. We know how to check the weather. We know how to find ways. We know maybe, okay, I have 2 weeks, maybe I need to rest for 3 days. All that stuff. Can be figured out. So, but what we get into a place where we are so indisciplined, and there are so many layers of the wrong belief system, the fearfulness, the fear of judgment, the social pressures, the curse of common impulse, all that stuff, the distractions, all that stuff is so heavy on us that we get out of it mentally, meaning we cop out mentally, and we start to follow everybody else who have a different excuse and use their excuse when we haven't even really and truly tried. We're not willing to do what it takes. And I'll end with this. The number one reason why people are not millionaires, why people are not successful, why people are not living the life they want, why people are not getting to reach the goals, you name it, any notable, extraordinary achievement. The number one reason why people are not getting to these goals is because they have not really, truly tried. We're just going through the motions. We're trying to exist. We're trying to keep going. We're not aiming. We're not really and truly aiming for that thing that we say we want. And we're not becoming a student of it. And we don't have a trusted, proven model that we are using to get there. And a guy say, oh, I get up and I go to work. Well, how does that model works then? You go to work, you earn X, this is your bills, this is your expenses, you go to work. Okay, so you go to work and you get in X paid. How is that going to go? How is it going? How are you going to use that to get to wealth or to get to the goals you want? What is your plan? How do you work it out? What will happen next month, next year, next 3 years? How are you seeing this? Most people don't bother to. They say like, oh, well, this salary, by the time I pay my bills, I'm done. And that's it. Oh, I'm trying to go back to school. I can't take on the student loan, and how am I going to do that? So, in a conversation with a young guy, guy's 20, has the opportunity to go do an advanced skill. Some skill that is worth $50, $60, $70 an hour in 4 years. That course will take him 3 years to do. Okay. Just left high school. Nobody's paying him more than $20 an hour. He says, well, I don't have the money to go to school. I said, well, go get a student loan. He said, well, the student loan is expensive. I'm not going to pay it back. I'm like, okay. Let's say the student loan guys give you $100,000. Right? At $15 an hour, if you don't take the student loan, at $15 an hour, when will you save that money to pay for school? Sounds like forever, if you ever get to save that. And if you take that $100,000 and you're being paid $50,000 a year, in 3 years, you'd make, in a year, 2 years, you'll make more, you'll make much more. You'll make much more in 1 year. You make that money back in 1 year. You take 3 years to pay it off, and then for the rest of your life, you have a skill that is valued at $250,000 a year. Instead of having no debt for $100,000 and your skill, you have no skill, and your time is valued $15,000. But most people can't bother to think it up. They grab onto a construct, a mental construct, and they hold on to that. And because of that, we are stuck. We don't want to become a student of a goal that we want. And we don't want to put in the time and the effort needed. I'll say that again. We refuse to become a student of the goals we want to achieve. And we don't want to put in that time and effort to learn and act in that direction. We're expecting miracles. We're expecting to flirt with it and do bursts of this, and then it's supposed to work. It does not work that way. That's why success is so hard, because everybody think it should be easy, and the people who have achieved success, they could talk until they're blue in the face of what they've been through. Everybody skip right over that and start to point finger at them, blame them, accuse them, talking about they had this, and they're searching for something that that person was able to cultivate in themselves that you are not able to cultivate in yourself. And instead of using the time and effort to believe in yourself and to believe that you can, you use the time and effort to convince yourself that you can. So you get caught in a cycle of successful people become more and more successful, and the failing people become more and more fulfilling, because successful people are doing the things that need to be done, that are hard, to get to the levels of success they want, and the failures are doing the things that further sink them into failure, wasting time on social media, wasting their money, not reading anything, not working on anything, not setting goals, not applying a proven system, not taking action, not being consistent, not learning to do the skills, not being focused, all the things. So here's one set of people doing the same set of things, and they're getting that result, wishing they had the result that another set of people have who are doing a certain thing that they are unwilling to do. So there you have it. Rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Or the successful people become more successful, the failing people fail more. Have a great one, guys. Always a pleasure.